some shit hard to believe it. They say the good die young, we lost our faith in Jesus. Shed a tip for the homie, kids won't see him for Christmas. No mama cooking on holidays, we ignore the season. Skeletons in the closet, shadow boxing with demons. Shadow boxing with demons. Skeletons in the closet, shadow boxing with demons. Shadow boxing with demons. No stimulus.
When thinking that they can, you know, convince these guys to be nice, keep in mind what they eat. They're not interested in being nice.
No. And it's, you know, for people that don't know this, and I've had a number of people ask, so this is actually I'm glad we're on topic. This is a good time to talk about it, and I'll be brief. People want to know about these Draco and or Hydra reptilians. You know, not only who are they, but what are they? They are primarily lower vibrational, fourth dimensional beings. Now that being said, can they and do they manifest organic, dense matter bodies? Yes, they do. And when they manifest those organic bodies, that's when they have this deep craving for, sorry to say this, but fresh meat. So that they're both.
Preferably from something that's capable of feeling anguish.
Right. So they get, yeah, you're right. It's almost like getting an espresso hit. They get to feed on the organic food, and they also get the benefit from the negative energy that person has been storing. It's not a pretty story at all, but you know, for people that are curious as to who and what these reptilians are, they've been fourth dimensional for a long time, but they can still manifest three-dimensional bodies. And when they do, they have a craving that they need satisfying. So I know it's quite not on topic, but I thought it'd be worth clarifying.
That is worth clarifying.
Yeah. So we have a reptilian Draco cube that was huge, about 31 miles in diameter. That was blown up. 70 dreadnought vessels that were destroyed.
Yep. 19 that we let escape, because with the cube gone, they're a little far from anything friendly. And one that we captured. Ah, okay. Alright. Well, and what have you done with that one? We're actually retrofitting it. We've removed all of the armaments, and we have removed the original engine. They use a fission engine. That is nuclear fission, much like what is going on at Fukushima right now.
Okay.
Not something you want, basically, running around spewing stuff anywhere. So we've dumped that down a void where it's not going to hurt anything, and replaced it with a crystal drive, and we're refitting it in order to be a scout craft carrier.
Okay. By the way, and just a couple of corroboratory and confirmatory pieces of information, because it's good to know that the things that you guys run into, we also run into. As a reference point, the last undersea reptilian base that we took out, one of the last steps before we left it is that of cleanup. And the cleanup was necessary because there were a bunch of these nuclear fission drive ships that were sitting in one specific hangar, if you will. It was almost like an aircraft repair hangar. It was a mess. There was stuff everywhere. And that included a number of fission replacement engines, and also included nuclear fission leakage all over the place.
Oh man, I would have hated to go in there with a Geiger counter.
Yeah, so one of the things that our guys had to do was go in there and clean it up before they finally evacuated the place. And they did. Matter of fact, with the engines that they took out of that hangar bay, they brought them up. They were so unstable, they brought them up on a per shuttlecraft basis, one engine at a time, until they got into deep space.
Oh man.
Cleaned them up on one of the maintenance biospheres, and then ejected it. So very similar to your process.
Yeah, I've been told that on a dreadnought, the average tour is about 2 years before they have to go back to dock and refit. And the average Draco soldier pulls about 3 or 4 tours of duty before they are no longer fit to serve.
So you've got this one dreadnought that you're retrofitting with, and this is consistent. Andromeda Council, Galactic Federation ships, a lot of them, they use crystal drive systems. And so you're instituting a new crystal drive system in this particular ship you've just taken.
Yep. It takes up about 1/10 the space of the old fission, doesn't require shielding, and has no horrible radiation leakage.
Yeah. How about in shifting off of the mechanics and the ships themselves? How about how did the combat go? How about your people? Are most of your people okay? Did you take prisoners?
We did not take prisoners, not this time.
Okay.
We kept it covert, so basically took out people in hallways, took out surveillance devices. Our unique way of getting around allows us that luxury of being able to just pop in and, plant an explosive device where nobody knows where it is, and then pop out, pop in, kill the guards who are guarding the human souls, evacuate the human souls, pop out.
Right.
And that's more or less how it went. We had 250 operatives. We had 30% casualties, which, while that sounds like a high rate, it is a high rate. It amounts to 75 people, all of whom have been recovered. And people who've listened to previous interviews with me and Tolik discussing recovery, that means that those people who've sustained enough damage to die or return to source, we bring them back or offer them the opportunity to reconstruct them. They accepted, and they're now in the infirmary recovering, complaining about how bored they are.
Well,
yes.
Especially your crew.
Yes.
Yeah, for the record, we're talking about their soul and spirit essence bodies.
Yes.
Their higher dimensional bodies.
Yeah, there weren't, to the best of my knowledge, there were no incarnated humans participating in this, simply because it was such a risky operation.
Sure.
Although there might have been some of the more powerful ones that I'm not aware of. But we did take casualties on it, but we still managed to succeed. The explosive devices that we placed were designed by our fifth dimensional allies, and they were designed to implode and then explode. And that basically destroyed the ship when there were hundreds of them placed all over.
Wow. So we've got 200 plus of your people, special forces. How many of the Galactic Federation people, and their special forces group as well?
Actually, there weren't too many of them. We had about 5 who contributed.
Oh, okay.
And none of them took any injuries.
Good.
And they had, from what we can tell, they had a wonderful time.
Good. All right.
Yeah. And these are people who come from an origin that they lost a planet once to the Reptilians, so they are not inclined to hold back.
Yeah. The Reptilians have been doing this to people all throughout the universe, and the words I use are reptilianizing. They've reptilianized whole galaxies.
In this case, they blew it up. So yeah,
that's awful.
That kind of destruction is not forgivable.
Yeah. Alright, so we know how many of your people and the Galactic Federation people were involved. How about on the Draco Reptilian side? Their officers, enlisted guys?
Well, there were 100,000 elite troops. And like I said, there was no way we could ever face off toe-to-toe with them. The Silver Legion's growing, but we're not that large.
Sure.
So we had to do this covertly. On the ships, I'm not too sure. Again, they weren't our main target.
Okay.
As far as I know, they had the typical complement, which was 35 to 50 crew and around 100 troops.
So the bulk of the Draco, I guess, warriors or officers were on this cube, this
yes.
enormously large cube.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm curious. What were you guys able to find out about this cube in terms of any preliminary intelligence? Its makeup, its capabilities, what its purpose was?
It's, from near as we could tell, its purpose was as a prison facility for these souls, but they never do just one thing.
Okay.
So there is, our fifth dimensional allies say that there were machine intelligences on those ships that were responsible for reaching out and contacting human channelers and feeding misinformation.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when people here on Earth who channel, who may be thinking that they're speaking with some higher dimensional archangel or any other entity that may not be in fact who they're communicating with.
Be very, very careful if you're trying to channel. Be very, very careful. Practice discernment. Don't be quick to take whatever it is at its word. Be very, very on the lookout for any anomalies, because they have tried to do this. They have tried to pull switcheroos on this, like this, on people. Give them basically what they want to hear, and not necessarily what is true.
Right. Oh yeah. I've certainly run into this quite a few times. So I hear you right. You're saying that these are not necessarily higher dimensional but malevolent entities transmitting the information. You're saying that these are machine entities,
yes.
Machine intelligence.
Yes, AI, artificial intelligence,
Wow.
programmed to behave in a certain way.
So programming and repetitive.
Loaded up with specific messages to transmit and then programmed. And I mean, that's one way of bypassing the, the 3 times check. If something is an artificial intelligence, it has no intent.
Yeah, I've always recommended to people that the best thing that they can do regarding any information, that any extraterrestrial or intra-dimensional or extra-dimensional entity seems to be sending you, use your heart, your mind, your soul, your spirit, the totality of you. Use your intuition. Use your intuition and use your heart and your soul as, if you will, as a filter of love, and see if that information passes the love test.
Yes, and there's nothing wrong with being a little bit suspicious, at least until you've developed a good rapport and a good, and you know for sure you can trust this entity.
Yeah, well said.
There are things that benefit from lying to us.
Yeah, and the Reptilians have been doing it really well for years.
Indeed.
Yeah. Draco, Hydra, Sirius B, Orion, all of them. And the ones that are the ones that are most duplicitous are the ones that present themselves as light-emitting, human-looking beings, but are in fact reptilian. And most people can't tell the difference. And that's dangerous.
Watch for the messages. Are they messages of empowerment, or are they messages of disempowerment? Don't worry, we'll take care of you. You will never have to choose again.
Right.
You will never have to make a decision or a choice. What kind of message is coming through?
Right.
That is an unhealthy message.
Right. My words are, be very careful if they have some kind of agenda for us. If they're trying to institute some kind of their own agenda for what they feel is appropriate for the human race. And I tell people, be very, very careful when you run into information like this.
For instance, the only one who should be deciding our leaders is us.
Is us, that's right. Absolutely. Yeah, we determine our present. We determine our future. We determine how our future world is going to look, how it's going to be structured. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, 1 Draco Reptilian cube destroyed. 70 dreadnought ships destroyed. 19 split. They took off. You captured 1. How many of the Draco Reptilian warriors that lost their lives in that cube?
As near as we can tell, considering they're probably Any that survived are contemplating deep space now.
Okay.
What's up, everybody? Yo, one thing, y'all forgot something. Y'all, don't forget to visit the Awakening store. Hey, shh. I hear somebody coming. Okay, we good. Hey, one thing y'all need to do, y'all need to go and visit the Awakening store. If you want to lift your vibration up,